Hello everyone, it's episode 6 of this Ask Me Anything live Q&A. Thank you for who have joined straight away. I hope Instagram is helping me pop this notification onto everybody's profile. It's the 6th episode that we've done of this, and every single time we do one of these, it turns into just some incredible conversation where everybody is chipping in with their thoughts and their comments and saying what they would like to say, because this is what this is all about. What have you got to say? What do you want to say about what you're doing? What do you want to say about your story? And let's just speak these things into the open, because that is a strong, courageous thing to do, I believe. Now, what I like to do here monthly is an Ask Me Anything style Q&A, where people can drop questions in the chat box and I will answer them. It can be about anything. It can be about my story. It can be about what's going on at the moment. It could be about what I'm promoting on my social media pages at the moment. Really, it's just such an open platform. And then these questions often lead to other questions, which lead to other questions. Now, if you were around last month, we had a very different thing going on with the live Q&A, because there wasn't that many people who joined, and I was unsure about why that was. I got told by quite a few followers that they couldn't make it because it was Christmas, it was December time. So hopefully this one gets a bit more of an audience, because then the discussion can become larger, which is exactly what we're looking for. So please, anybody that's joined so far, if you have any questions, please do put them in the comment section and we'll get this thing going. Now, before any questions do come in, let's just chat about everything that's going on this week. So much is happening this week. It's January the 18th for anyone who is watching this on the recorded version, which I will be uploading the full version onto my YouTube channel after this. But if you're following me on Instagram, if you're following me on the various platforms, the YouTube channel, you will see that I have been promoting a new video. A new video is coming tomorrow, 5 p.m. here in England, GMT time, and it's an interesting one. It's a very, very interesting one. It's completely different to any of the others that I've ever done before. It's a new style. It's got a new editing feel to it. I've worked with a new editor on this one, and it is, you know what? I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just going to let you guys see it when it comes out tomorrow, 5 p.m. Don't miss that. I can't wait to release it. Let me just say that every time I put something like this together, I work with people who help me with the script. I work with people who help me with the directing of it. We pick the studio, we go there, we check it out, we see how the lighting is, we see how the backdrop is. We then send it to an editor who works on the editing, and we work together just to try to get the correct feel to it. We want the right feel to the work. We want it to be creative. We want it to be engaging. Then we get it ready to post. It's ready. It's ready now. It's ready for the YouTube channel. It's ready for social media. So keep an eye out for that. Tomorrow, it's a big, big day. It's an incredible moment. It always is when I release these big projects. So please, do you have any questions for me to answer today? Could be about my story. Could be about anything that we've got going on at the moment. Anything about the YouTube channel. What do you like and what do you not like? That's always very interesting. How do you feel about my post on Instagram so far? How do you feel about, you know what? How did you feel about last week? Because last week I know I put a lot of content out there which was all about how I'm struggling to keep this running financially. How I expressed a lot about how I felt about my return to work. I picked up a job on a building site, just doing general labouring. It's far from my original career as a design engineer, mechanical engineer, but it's just something immediate to get quick cash, to keep this project, to keep this something to say project ongoing. I talked a lot about that. Did you feel it was too much, or do you like being put in this journey? Do you like me expressing my journey as I go? The reason why I say that is because I do know a couple of people were thinking that I was talking too much about it. That I was talking too much about the struggle of running this project. And that takes away from making content that is educational and informative. But for me, I disagree with those people that said that. Because for me, I want to bring people on this journey. This is not just about constantly creating information and information posts. You know, I don't want to only be writing information posts every time, education posts every time. I want you to come on the journey with me, because this is I'm trying to build a community here. Yeah. I'm trying to build a community of people here. And we're all for the same mission. So I like to express each stage of it. So, excellent. We've had a question come through. This is exactly what this is about. Episode 6 of Ask Me Anything Live Q&A. Let's get into the first question. Awkward Parent says, and just to say, if anybody hasn't checked out awkward_parents Instagram page yet, please go and check that out. It's right there. You can see it here. She's doing excellent work. I'm supporting the content she's putting out there. So the question is, you said you spent £62,000. Can you expand on that? Yes. Let's talk a little bit about that. For anyone who has started following me in the last year or so and doesn't know that backstory, let me take you through it. Before I started this project of raising awareness for child sexual abuse, I was a mechanical design engineer. I had a very prosperous career. I was designing structures for aeroplanes, aircraft. I was working all around Europe. I also worked on very prestigious supercar projects, McLaren being one of them. So any car enthusiasts will know about that. I was getting paid healthily. I was getting paid a good amount of money for what I do. I was very skillful at that. So, while I was engineering, I didn't even know that I was going to do something online towards this. That wasn't even a thing in my head. I was just collecting money. I was living a nice lifestyle and I was just collecting money. I was just earning my wages, working hard and putting money in my bank. I got to £65,000, and that is when I got to a situation where I'd started speaking out about the abuse that I went through as a child. And that's a story within itself. The more I spoke, the more I started researching online, the more I started to feel like I wanted to do something about this. Then when I started speaking at open mics on the stages in London, taking my story public, I then decided that I was going to stop working and I was going to use that money that I'd saved from my engineering career and start pumping it into creating content, setting up social media platforms, working with these film people, working with these animators. What I did was, because I'd stopped working, meant that I had no income coming in. I packed my bags. I got rid of the flat that I was living in. I got everything that I needed into my car and started sleeping around people's houses to save on accommodation costs. My money lasted 3 years. We're now 3 years on, but now my £65,000 has now £3,000 left. You can hardly believe it. I never thought I would get to this stage and not have the project running itself financially. But I haven't got the project running itself financially. So I'm out of money. That's why last week you would have seen me talk a lot about funding, a lot about donations through my website, raising money. I've gone back to work on a building site, not engineering, because if I go back to engineering, that will be all consuming. And then I can't run this on the side. So I have to find the correct balance here. Right? I have to find the correct balance because I want to keep running something to say, but I need to start now making money. So that's where we're at the minute. So we're just pushing forward, always pushing forward. Okay, we got another question come in. Thank you so much. And by the way, I see one in the comment in the question box here as well, so I won't ignore that one. We'll get to it. I'm really pleased that the questions are coming in. This is what we want. Discussions, exploring, moving around from subject to subject, finding out how each other thinks. As I'm answering the questions, please feel free to put your comments in as well, because I kind of want this to be a more than just me talking to you guys. I want it to be everyone involved. Okay, let's go for this. Brilliant. What are your thoughts on child sexual abuse into the Catholic Church and the Vatican cover-up? Okay, now, I have not investigated largely on the cover-ups in the church. I have not read reports on that or news articles on that. But of course, it's common knowledge that this has been happening. It's common knowledge that this is continuing to happen. And what are my thoughts on it? I can't wait until more survivors, more people are coming out with their story and calling these people out. That's my view on it. I see more and more people are coming forward and calling these institutions, organisations out on what they were doing. Because people aren't scared anymore. People aren't frightened anymore. People aren't worried to tell their story anymore. So when they're telling their story now, when they're speaking out against these massive organisations, are they organisation or are they an institution? I don't know. But people aren't afraid anymore. So now organisations, institutions like the church, like the Vatican, massive cover-ups. We know there's massive cover-ups. Nobody denies it. Nobody denies it. Now people are speaking out. Now it's like people who have done these crimes, people who have carried out these crimes, really start to have nowhere to hide. Because where they were hiding before was behind the secret. But once people speak out and there's no more secret, there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to hide. I feel like things are changing. Maybe I'm a bit over optimistic or I'm going to stick with that. I feel like things are changing. Yeah, I feel like things are changing. And maybe social media and the internet gave us that platform to do that. So, thank you so much for the question. Let's get into another one. Okay, we've got a question here. How did you feel after saying out loud what happened to you? Let's go through the first time I ever spoke out about what happened to me. The first time I actually said it out loud. It was the craziest experience. I have never had an experience like that today. When I was 25 years old, the memories of my abuse started to return to my head in a way that I couldn't ignore them. 15 years after the abuse had finished from my childhood. I knew what they were about. I had never actually completely forgotten through my teenage years, but it didn't bother me. But now at 25 years old, it was bothering me. I spent 2 years trying to push those memories away because I thought, I don't want them in my life. Why is it bothering me now? It never bothered me before. I was like, go away. So I pushed them away. Every time they came, I pushed them away. 2 years later, I get to 27 years old and the memories are still there. In fact, they're stronger than ever before. So I knew at that point I needed to change my strategy because trying to push them away and allowing them to dissolve was not working. Something in me told me you should tell somebody about what happened. I got good close friends. I'm very lucky for that. I got good close friends. So I decided that I would tell one of them. Oh my goodness, honestly. I was with friends. I was like, I'll do it now. I tried to go and do it, but I mean, it was just way too much. And what was too much about it? I always ask myself, what was too much about it? All I'm really doing is telling someone about what happened. Something that wasn't my fault. Why was it so scary for me? I always ask myself this question. Why was it so scary for me? Why is it so scary for us to speak about it? Why? Anyway, I'd get in another situation where I'm like, just do it now, just do it now, just do it now, just do it now, just do it now. And so I go to do it and I just retract. It was too much again. But then on the third attempt, I did it. And when I did it, it was so crazy. It was so crazy. I woke up the next morning and I said to my mate, do you know what? That feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I didn't realise it would feel that good for speaking. That's why I've created the Something to Say official page. Because I want to give a platform for other people to have an opportunity to speak as well. That's why I created that, and it's moving strongly now. If you don't know about that platform, check it out. Something to Say official. I want to create a space where people can have an opportunity to speak their story, because it helped me. It was a strong moment for me. So I would like for other people to have that opportunity. That's why I created it. That's why I created it. We've had some interesting comments here, and I'd like to just quickly read through them. Using the church and the Vatican as the boogeyman, when sadly these only make up 10% of child abuse. Remember, 90% of abusers are family or friends. This is obviously a massive issue. It's so crazy, that statistic, right? 90% of abusers are members of the family or known to the family. It's such a crazy statistic. I tell you, one of the things I feel anybody who's not actually directly involved with this subject, or doesn't know anybody who's had an experience like this, so they've never been exposed to the subject. Let's say it like that. When they hear that members of the family are abusing people within the family, it's so difficult for them to get their head around. It's so difficult for them to get their head around. Because it just seems so crazy. It seems so unlikely that would happen. It seems so out of the norm that would happen. It seems like out of this world. Like that doesn't even happen on films. That kind of attitude. That would never happen in our family. But the statistic is there. And again, the more people now, we have more and more pages on social media with people speaking out. And now I feel like the more that happens, the more that grows, the more the public, meaning people who are not involved in this subject, will start being like, whoa, we should probably do something about this, because this is a mega problem. For the person that asked me the question, Leah_Ma, she's written here that. So I apologise. The follower who has sent me that question, asking me how it felt to speak out for the first time, has also written, I haven't been able to find the courage to tell my family. I know it's important so that they are aware something like that can happen. I understand that it's hard. I try my hardest to never advise. I never say that it's my advice to speak out. All I do is let you know how it worked for me and the process that I went through. That's all I can do. So, excellent. A nice bout of questions there. And another quick thing that I just want to say for anybody who is watching this, especially on the recorded version, we got Surviving Childhood Trauma also writing in the chat box here, which you should be able to see because I'm recording the screen. Check them out as well. Check Shannon's her name. Check her out. She's doing incredible work. She is actually showing that that this subject can be communicated in a way that people are interested in following. Because this is a tough, uncomfortable, sad, horrific subject. And she has got an incredible following on Instagram. Lots of engagement on her pages. And she is showing us that this subject can be communicated in a way that people want to follow. Because sometimes it's difficult when things aren't growing. You start to doubt yourself. So she's a good example of that. And again, for anybody that hasn't been on her page yet, Surviving Childhood Trauma, go check it out. So again, let's get the questions in again. We've had some nice questions so far. These are excellent. I love this. Episode 6, live Q&A. Ask me anything. Have you got anything to ask me about what's been going on recently, about my story, about the content I'm creating, about my vision for the future? Let's just touch on that for a moment. I have been working hard with Naria, who's the graphic designer I work with, who helped me develop all the branding that you see, all the color schemes that you see, the way the posts are designed, the way the website is put together. She has helped me with all of that. She's incredible. We have been working very hard on merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, bags, and a couple of other items. The reason why this is very important is because, as you know, if you were following my pages last week, I need to generate funds to keep this thing going. A good example of why I need to do that is because Naria is a graphic artist who works for herself, so she needs to be paid for her work. That's one of the reasons why I'm trying to generate funds. Now, the merchandise is going to be incredible. I can't wait for it. I can't wait to release it. I can't wait to launch it. It's going to be incredible for a number of reasons. One of them is because this was actually a vision that I had at the very start, to have t-shirts, as an example, that people will wear and feel proud to wear them. Feel strong in wearing them. Now, these t-shirts, hoodies, etc., they're representing child abuse, the subject of child abuse. And that's not something that people will, that's a scary topic, especially to wear a t-shirt that says it on it, right? But we have the logo, something to say. We know what it represents. Maybe the public don't necessarily know exactly what it represents, but we know. Something to say. We're designing some slogans on the t-shirts. Now, I want people to wear it. One of the slogans is like, "My story matters." I want people to wear that and feel proud to wear that, to feel strong to wear that. And one of my target markets was men, right? For men to wear something like that and be like, yeah, that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that I want out of merchandise. That's the kind of feel we're going for. That's why I named this Something to Say, because we got something to say, right? It's not like we've got something to say and we're hiding over here. It's like we're at the front of the stage here and we got something to say. That's why it's named that. That's the kind of vibe that I want from the merchandise. We're working hard. We're working real hard to get that launched. It's so crazy. I mean, so much goes into these things. We need to find the correct suppliers. We need to find the correct platform. We need to make adjustments to the website. We need to work out how we're going to launch it on social media platforms. We don't want to be spamming people too much with too many posts, but we want it to be cool, That is what I should say. We want it to be cool. You know what? When I go, I live in London, so when I go on the underground, you see billboards, especially on the underground, plastered all over the underground. And you see billboards with like Nike, you know, the one that everybody knows, and it's like young people on the advert, like looking cool, looking like youngsters are looking at them thinking, yeah, I want to be like that's a cool advert. It looks trendy. You know, why can't we go for that? Why can't we get our name in areas like that? Why can't I put a post out some time ago saying, why can't we make it cool to speak out now? Now, I know cool is probably not the correct word. I know that. At the time of writing the post, I didn't have the correct words. But when I say cool, what I mean is, it's like, yeah, I got a story. I got a story for you. I got a story for you, something that happened to me when I was a child, and I'm going to tell you because in me telling you, it will inform you in some way, educate you in some way, and you're going to be more vigilant with the people around you. That's one good thing. And actually, I'm telling you this story because we won't stand for it anymore. That's the kind of vibe I'm feeling. Cool is the wrong word. I know that. Maybe the norm, possibly. You know? That's the kind of vibe that I'm going for. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all these comments. Like, look, everybody has just got so much support and so much support for each other. So incredible. So incredible. So, everybody, and again, you know, some people that are joining this chat, I just want to shout some of them out because I've known them now for some years since doing this. Consent Parenting, another one. This is the third Instagram account that I am talking about here. If you haven't come across Consent Parenting, check them out. Check out the way they're doing things. So now I've spoken about 3 people, right? I've spoken about awkward parents, I've spoken about surviving childhood trauma, and I've spoken about consent parenting. You check those 3 accounts out and you see how they're doing things differently. That those 3 accounts are doing things very differently. That each of them are creative in their own right. And that's what we're looking for, right? That's what we're looking for because we don't want to follow the same thing every time. Consent Parenting have excellent branding. They got bright colours. They're looking for... they've got great... they do posts with like great statements on there. Yeah? They've got a podcast. Like, this is inspirational. This is a reason to have optimism because this subject, if you are only going to think that this subject is too big for us to handle, we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get anywhere with it. If we're gonna let the magnitude of this situation, the situation that's going on online, the situation that's going on in people's homes, the amount that it's happening, the frequency, if that gets us bogged down, we're not going to go anywhere. Because it's just going to push us down the down, and we're going to feel so pessimistic about things. We're going to feel so low about things. But when you check out Instagram accounts like Consent Parenting, like Awkward Parents, like Surviving Childhood Trauma, you see that people can actually make change. They're helping huge people. And they've actually got different audiences. Fantastic. Let's get into another question. Thank you. Do you feel this project is part of your healing? 100%. 100%. No doubt about it. There's just no doubt about that. Let me tell you the one thing. I just pick up one thing from the top that is healing. That is healing. Writing. I go on about it all the time. And each time I write a post, you will see that sometimes I'm writing posts letting you know how I'm feeling. Sometimes I'm feeling down and I want to write about it. I want to let you know how things are going. And that is so empowering for me to do that. That is so empowering. You're just going to have to bear with me a moment, right? Because, just one second. Okay. I'll tell you why. I just need to change the cable on my phone because it's telling me that we're possibly going to run out of battery, which would be such a shame here. Oh dear. This was never in the plan. Apologies for this. Okay, let's get back to it. The project is healing for me because every time I write a post, about my story, every time I write a post letting you know how I feel, it's like getting this stuff off my chest. But it's not just that. When I write a post about my story, it's actually me organizing how it is in my head. Because to start with, it's like this, you know, it's like all tangled in, it's like this to start with. But every time I write a little bit about it, it's almost like these things start to organize themselves in my head. And I'm trying my hardest to organize them in a way that when I think about them, it's strength and courage. Again, I say on my Something to Say official page, do you have something to say that makes you feel strong when you say it? When I write these posts, even if I'm writing something which is me letting you know that I'm feeling down, I'm still trying to write it in a way that when I read it back to myself, I feel strong. So yes, it's definitely healing for me. For sure. There's no doubt about it. Something that I just want to briefly mention is the word healing. I don't usually use the word healing, and there's a reason for that, because I feel some resistance to using that word. I feel like it's because I don't think you'll ever be healed from anything that was discomforting, that caused you discomfort in your childhood. I don't feel like you're ever healed because you got cut in some way and a scar formed over it. It will never return back to the original skin, right? So I feel like the reason why I don't use the word healing in my work is because if people think by me saying that they're gonna heal completely, I don't think that's ever achievable. I may be wrong in all of this, by the way. I'm just trying to think out loud here. It's almost like I'm saying that if you do X, Y, Z, or if you behave in X, Y, Z way, you're going to completely satisfy the stress in your head. I don't think you can ever do that. Is it like saying if you do X, Y, Z, you will be constantly happy? I mean, you can never be constantly happy, like all the time, because something's going to happen that's going to turn that mood. You're going to get stuck in a traffic jam, or something's not going to go your way, or you're going to lose something. So, yeah, okay. Some people, this is what I like. A couple of people have written now about this topic. So it's obviously a topic of interest. Let's just check out what they're saying. Nikki Adams has written, can we be healing but still know we will never be healed? I think that's a valid point. So in response to that, the word healing can be and should be used, because actually it's a nice word. So let me read that again. Can we be healing but still never know we'll be fully healed? So yes, in that respect, yeah, I think the word healing is good. And by the way, when I talk about things like this, I haven't got all the answers, right? I don't know all the answers. So I'm trying to work this out as I go as well. So I'm always happy to change my opinion. Something like, by the way, I put a video out on my YouTube channel saying the reasons why I don't use trigger warnings. And I talked about that for 20 minutes. And at the end of the video, I made sure I said that I'm learning as we go. So this video, when I'm speaking about this video now, when I was talking in front of the camera, I said, this is how I feel right now. These are my reasons right now. But in 6 months, I may change my mind, because we're evolving all the time. We're trying to figure out the best ways to do these things. If you're interested in that, if you're interested in the reasons why I don't use trigger warnings on my work, please go check out that video. I was proud of it once I'd spoken about it. So I'm constantly trying to learn. Awkward parents, in response to the healing conversation we're just having. Healing is not getting over it, and many people confuse the two. I totally get you. Okay. So maybe healing is a continuous process that we're on. We're not saying, if we're saying something like that's good for our healing, what we're not saying is we're not aiming to be healed, because that's probably not achievable. So what we're saying here, I think, is to use the word healing is okay. It just means you are, yes, thank you, surviving childhood trauma. Healing is a journey, not a destination. Thank you. Okay, let's go with that. Healing journey, something I hear a lot of people say. Okay, let's go with that then. I like that. Healing is not a destination. It's a journey. It's a continuous journey of trial and error and evolving and advancement. Okay. That's nice, yeah? That's nice. I learned something. I really, really learned something, because I had a lot of resistance to that word. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you. That is what you call community, helping each other. That is what you call power just through conversation. Incredible. It's giving me a shiver down my back of my spine. Okay, let's hit this again then. Let's go for it again. We've had some brilliant questions so far. We got one here. I'm so sorry. I have a question. Are you working on healing your soul for what happened to you? I feel like, personally, one of the best things I can do with this situation, you know what? The thing that I find the most healing for me is taking what happened to me as a child and getting some good out of it. Squeezing every last drop out of it. Whether that be inspiration for people, whether that be encouragement for people, whether that be giving people an alternative way of looking at things, support for survivors. I'm always aiming for my work to reach parents who have never thought about opening conversations with their children. That all comes from my story. If I hadn't have gone through that experience, I would have never have been involved in this work, of course. What I'm trying to say is, what's healing for me is taking that horrific situation, and it's a horrific situation, and turning it to do some good. Actually, I'm going to go one better than that. No, not one better than that. That's the wrong terminology. I'm going to add to that. If I can take my story and turn it into information and work towards preventing this happening to the younger generations, then that is an incredible thing that I can do. And that is healing. That's healing. What I really want is, I want to create films and videos. This is what I'm aiming for with all the films and videos that I create. And I want teenagers to watch it and be so engrossed in it that they share it among their friends. Because when we talk about education, young people are like, oh, boring, aren't they? They're like, if you start lecturing a young person, they're like, oh, shut up. I don't want it to be like that. What I want is, I want kids to be chatting about it in the playground. Now, how do you do that? Because you definitely don't do that by lecturing. You don't. How you do that is in creating TV programs, drama, YouTube videos, using story. How many kids are talking about what they're watching on Netflix? That's what we're on about. That's the kind of magnitude I'm after. People are going into work, or young people are going into the playground and talking about what they're watching on Netflix. Some people get to like series 6 on a program, right? Series 6? You can't believe it. How many episodes in each series? I don't know. Let's say it's 10, right? Now, that is so much TV these people are watching. So why can't we create something that is that gripping? That is that gripping in a story, though. Not a lecture. Not a lecture. We're trying to get eyes on the topic, not away from the topic. Thank you to Nikki Adams. I've been struggling to continue to speak out about this. You're inspiring me to keep going. I try to keep up the pace. I try to keep up the momentum. I try to be ever evolving on my platforms as well. 1 week we're talking about the struggle with funds. The next week we're talking about new videos that are coming out. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. Let me just talk about that again. I have a new video coming out. You may have seen the post that I put up a couple of hours ago with a behind the scenes image. Go and look at that image. It's really cool. We shot this in September. I worked with 4 people to produce it. I wrote the script. We had a cameraman, we had a director, and we had an editor. So 4 of us have been working on this. This is actually a series of videos. First one is out tomorrow. I don't know when the rest are coming, but the first one is out tomorrow. Okay, 5 p.m. here in England. Don't miss it. You gotta check this one out. It's interesting. I am gonna say, this is a bold thing to say, you are definitely gonna find it interesting. You are definitely going to find it interesting. And one of my aims with this piece was, I'm always worried. I don't want to give the surprise, not the surprise. I don't want to give any of it away, you know. One of my aims with this video was, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to say it just in case. It's exciting. Look what we're doing. This is exciting. This is exciting stuff. We're turning this subject into something that's incredibly engrossing and encouraging. We will. I'm quite dead sure we will. But we could inspire a generation. Because something that's terrible to think about, right? But we all know that this is going on all the time. It's not like it only happened in the 60s or it only happened in the 70s, right? This is continually going on, right? Every single age of people, children, are currently being abused, right? So they're all then they're getting out of their abusive situation. Then they're going to become young teenagers. Then they're going to become teenagers. They're coming through the system. Now, if we can set a good example, right? If we can set a good example on how to deal with those memories, as you come out of an abusive situation, we can. No, I don't know if that's the right thing to explain. I want to do my best to set a good example for the younger generations coming through what I call the system. Right? Of course, I also am massively aiming for prevention, and I do that by trying to get in front of the parents, trying to get my work in front of the parents. I try my hardest for that, but I also want to set a good example for how to deal with these situations as you start coming to terms with them. We could inspire a generation. We could literally change the culture. And when we're at the end of our time here on Earth, we can look back and be like, we really did something. We really did something. There's a really powerful quote saying, I can't remember who it was. I saw it the other day. And he said, I may not change the world, but I may spark the mind that changes the world. Meaning, it may not be this work that changes the culture, but we may inspire a generation to change the culture. And we are we could do that. We could actually do that. It's not out of our capacity to do that. So that's why I'm making these videos. That's why I put a lot of time and effort into these properly shot videos. That's why I'm collecting donations through my website. That's why I'm trying to generate funds from this new merchandise that's coming out soon. That's why I've gone back to work temporarily. That's why I'm okay to get on a building site and do construction work. Just to get the funds in. Keep this thing going. Get it running itself financially. As soon as it's running itself financially, it can fly. It can just go off. I've got a brilliant lady called Karen who's running the admin of the Something to Say official page. That's now running nicely on the side. If you would like to write in to that Something to Say official page, please do. And please check out the entries that are already there and see how strong they are. It's incredible. It's incredible things. Okay. 10 minutes to go, 10-ish minutes to go. I'm really glad that my phone isn't going to run out of battery. You know, that was scary. Yes, live Q&A. Ask Me Anything live Q&A. Episode 6. Incredible to be here. The first episode that I did, I was frightened about doing this for an hour. Last month was frightening because there wasn't that many questions, so I had to fill the hour. But every time I do one of these, it fills me with confidence because I feel like I can handle this off the top of my head situation. And that's really good. That's really good for me. I love progression. I love advancing. I love upskilling. So these are all just fantastic, fantastic things. Absolutely brilliant. So please, if anybody has a question, please do put it in the chat box. I apologize if I have missed your question. If I have, please do put it in the chat box and we'll use this last 10 minutes the best we can. It goes super fast, super fast. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, by the way, did you see the video that I posted yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday on my YouTube channel called Man Confronts His Abuser at Church. If you haven't seen it, consider checking it out. This guy has gone up to his abuser outside of the church and has called him out on everything in explicit detail. And you should see the guy. You should see. Oh my God, it's just so... it's so emotional, to be honest. But in a way. I couldn't believe it when somebody sent it to me. Incredible. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out. YouTube channel. Have you seen my YouTube channel before? A variety of videos on there. Also just moving forward all the time. Okay, so while we wait for any more questions to come in, if we do get any, let's talk a little bit about another Instagram post that I put up last Friday. And it was a message that I received from somebody who's following me. Let me read it to you. Hi, Jeremy. Just wanted to say thank you for all the stuff you put out there. I was finally able to admit to my family that I was molested as a child. I'm 16 now and working towards getting the help that I need as well as getting the relevant authorities involved. It's scary and at some points I regret it, but I'm glad it's off my chest. Thank you. You just can't believe how incredible that person is for writing that down. And also, on the flip side of that, when he writes in there that he's 16 feel so sad. Yeah, I feel so sad because he's just a kid. He's come to terms with, I think statistics would say, very early with what happened to him. And he's contacted the authorities, which is pretty much outstanding. And it's sad. It's a reminder that there is a constant flow of people coming through this experience. So if we can inspire the young people, as well as the older generations, as well as the eldest generations. One of the things that made me feel like I should really try to do something about this was, even before I'd gone public with my story, I started researching this topic online. And I started getting into chat rooms and reading what other people were saying. So again, I had not gone public with my story. I'd spoken to like 10 people that were close to me by this point. And I read a message from an 80-year-old woman saying that she has never had the opportunity to speak out about what happened to her. She feels like it affected her life in various ways. She listed them. And she said that she probably will never speak it out loud and she will go to the grave with it. It was a real heartfelt message as I read it. I read it a number of times because I just couldn't believe what that woman probably went through. Never being able to tell anybody about what happened to her, even though possibly she wanted to. Because she grew up in a different time. Could you imagine what the world was like before the internet? Like, can you even imagine what the world was like before the internet? The only opportunity you would have to speak out about something that went on, that happened to you when you were a child, was either you wrote it down on a piece of paper or you actually told someone. And the only people who you could tell was people who you knew. And you think, if that woman's 80, she was growing up in again a different world that probably, even if you wanted to speak out about these things, you couldn't. It wasn't okay. There are plenty of people still living now in those age ranges that have never had a chance to speak out, that would feel some release from seeing our work. So it's not just young people, it's not just older generations, it's not just eldest generations, it's not just children, it's everyone. We need to make content for every age range. People always say to me, what's your target audience? You need to know your target audience. And my response is, and still is, because I haven't, there isn't a better one that I can see. When people say to me, what's your target audience? I say, everyone. Everyone is the answer to that question. And they're like, what do you mean, everyone? You got to have a target audience. And I'm like, yeah, but my target audience is everyone. Because if we're going to talk about survivors, we have to talk about everyone. And if we're going to talk about education and content that's informative, we have to talk about everyone. There's no age range that's excluded from this type of information, right? I don't think that's debatable. Now, possibly it would be sensible or a good strategy for me to sometimes focus my attention on certain audiences. And that is what I do with some of my material. But essentially, my target audience is everyone. And that proves what kind of problem we have on our hands here, yeah? Really does. Okay. I think that will do us now. It's been an incredible, should we call it session? It's been an incredible Q&A session, episode. I am recording this and I will upload the full thing to my YouTube channel. I think we really make some great progress on these. The healing conversation, the conversation about using the term healing was incredible. I learned something there. And thank you for joining. It's been a success. I'm going to keep doing more of these. Keep an eye on my profile this week, tomorrow in particular, for this new video, and let me know how you feel about it. Thank you for joining. We are a community of people showing strength and courage, and enough is enough. That's how I feel about it. Thank you so much, and speak again soon.